Our first official snowfall landed this week, turning our Golden Mountain into a white winterscape. The first snow is a firm reminder that summer is officially over and it's time to harvest the garden. However, this year it's a new playbook with the garden dome. The seasons are a bit muddled. Walking from the snow outside into a tropical oasis, it's easy to forget that the days are getting shorter, but there are a few changes inside the dome this week and things to tend to as the seasons are changing outside.
Well, everything's just the way I left it in the dome. In fact, I don't think I need this heavy overcoat anymore. Looks like the temperature in here is about 70 degrees. Yep, not even kidding, 70 degrees in the dome. Super awesome, exactly what I was hoping for. Even though it's not sunny outside yet because of the cloud cover and the fog, we still get that radiation indoors here. It's gonna be a really fun retreat to this winter because it's a very long winter. My first chores when I come into the dome is I feed the fish. In fact, I got them some new fish food, and I don't think they like it as much. I got this variety blends, like floating sticks for koi, for pond fish. They're not really as excited about it. Hopefully they get used to it, but that's step one is usually feeding the fish. And let's check on the pond temperature while we're at it. Okay, so the pond temperature is 66 degrees. Good to know that the pond stays very stable despite dropping temperatures outside, 30, 40 degrees colder outside. My next order of business, my normal chores in the morning is to water the vegetables. So let me update you on what's growing right now. So this is the first garden bed, which is filled with a lot of greens. Still got beets in here from earlier this summer. And I just recently planted arugula. They were transplants that actually volunteered in my outdoor raised bed. I didn't plant any arugula outside this year, but it's self-seeded. So this is the second round of self-seeding arugula that we've had. And the arugula that I transplanted is doing really well. It's not even wanting to go to seed. So that is a success in my book because we already had an arugula grow one time and it went to seed in about 3 weeks. More arugula growing here. The transplants all look really good. I don't even see one that hasn't survived. I mean, they're all doing really well. So yay for arugula. We eat a lot of that. I have a little bit more fennel coming up here. So I'm hoping that turns into a nice sized bulb. Earlier this year, well, it just went to the fronds and well, I really wanted the fennel bulb. This is a radish that's just growing. It's a little past edible, but we'll see. It's time to pull out the cucumbers though. Not much growing on this. And there's only those two that haven't grown. These two haven't grown much in the last few weeks. So I think it's time to harvest and pull out the cucumber. Now we've got a squash on the vine. This is a butternut squash that has, pretty much dried up. So it's safe to pull this plant out. This squash is working on drying up. So hopefully this ripens pretty soon. This is the one that fell off the vine. Not really sure if that's going to be edible, if it's going to rot, but we'll just let that dry out to see what happens. And this one did not get pollinated. Here's a nice pollinated squash. This one might outgrow my original. Now it's almost time to pull out the summer squashes. Look at the problem I'm having with powdery mildew. But there's just a couple left, and there's not much more coming. It's all very, very tiny. So I don't know how much life that's got left. We'll keep an eye on it. Still got basil, although it's not growing a ton. I harvested a lot of it last week. Still got tomatoes ripening. How about that? Look at all these tomatoes. Still ripe. Look at all the cherry tomatoes on here. That's awesome. Tomatoes in October in the Rocky Mountains. Who would have thunk it? A lot of little peppers. These are called lunchbox peppers. And those need to ripen. I don't know how much more they're going to grow, but we'll keep our fingers crossed. And a little more tomatoes over here. I planted potatoes in here, so we'll see if these come up and turn into anything before the end of the year. And then the white eggplant, well, I have several on here. There's a bigger one here. And then like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 small ones. They just started really coming. I think it just finally adjusted to being transplanted. But I don't know how big they're supposed to get, but if they keep growing, hey, I like it. That's it for vegetables on this bed. And then on this bed, there's butternut squash coming. So this plant was a volunteer, volunteered out of the compost. So that would be really cool if that fruits. Got some onions here. These were from some green tails that I got from the grocery store, and I decided to plant them. And some asparagus, little ladybug doing her job on the asparagus, and some kale. Looking good. I would like to plant some more greens. I'm thinking about some bok choy, some other nice fast-growing greens would be really nice to have in here.
It's definitely a little bit of a shake-up to come into the garden and start pulling out plants. So much of my energy has gone into helping them grow, and now their life cycle has ended. So realizing it will likely be many, many months until it's time to plant cucumbers and squash again. We won't have hot weather for quite a while, nor the sun hours every week that we need for growth. But I'm still considering some grow lights through the winter for some things at least, but it's definitely good to pull out some of these dried up vines and make room for something else.
The other thing I like doing in the morning is doing my inspections. So usually pruning off suckers, trimming back greens that are a little overgrown, and also inspecting for pests. Usually have whitefly on them or some type of, so I always have to keep those in check. Next year, I'm definitely going to be a little more conscientious on pest management, but since we're at the end of the life cycle, I'm just keeping them going for as long as possible to see if I can finish out the harvest. So I don't need to do a ton of watering on my flowers because it's pretty overcast and not very hot in here, so things are staying pretty damp. And I will draw attention to an update. Look at this, mandarin is starting to change color, so that's exciting. Can't wait to see that get orange, a nice orange color. But there is one thing that's not doing well, and that is the nectarine tree, turning yellow and losing leaves. Maybe they're supposed to lose their leaves in the fall, but we'll see. I can kind of keep it in the pot and see what happens over the winter time, but I'm counting that one as a loss. I also had one more loss, which was a near by the pond, one of my caladiums. I think I overwatered it, and it's really on its last sprig, so that's another casualty. Just unfortunate that one did not work out. But I'm happy to see all my little microclimates doing really well. The shaded area with a fig tree, I've got columbine and catmint and shade-loving plants in here. And I am exceptionally pleased that these rescues from Ace Hardware are still going strong. Petunias, geraniums, snapdragons. I mean, the snapdragons are loving it. They just keep blooming and blooming. I didn't really know what to expect with annuals. I thought that flowers might have their cycle and then they'll go dormant, but they seem to just keep producing. So I'm excited to see how long they'll keep throwing out flowers. What a nice color array. I mean, and they just keep blooming and blooming. So these are things I can still use in my artwork as well. This little corner over here, a lot of salvias, but some nice interest, some variegated leaves and a couple different plants. I can't remember the names of them. Coleus perhaps, lantana, one of my favorites. But all in all, that's the update from the dome this week. So our very first snowfall, our transition from summer planting into fall planting. But I invite you to stay tuned to see how things progress throughout the colder months. As things get colder and colder, we'll see if we can keep some of these annuals flowering and some of the other projects that we've got planned as well, as including the relaxation deck above the pond. There's a lot to look forward to, so we'll see you in the next video.